In the grimdark galaxy, biotitans are some of the biggest and most terrifying creatures ever created by the alien swarm known as the Tyranids. These monsters aren't machines built in factories, they are living weapons grown by the Hive Fleets for invasions. The Hive Mind, which is the shared collective intelligence controlling all Tyranids, creates these biotitans when it needs something powerful enough to destroy the strongest enemies, like other gigantic war machines or titans used by humans and other races. Instead of metal and wires, biotitans are made from flesh, bone, and super hard chitin armor, and so even if they get hurt, they can heal. Thus, taking one down is extremely difficult. They are designed to lead huge swarms into battle, smashing through buildings and tearing apart enemy titans. Unlike the slow mechanical titans of humanity, biotitans are surprisingly fast and aggressive, despite their size. However, they aren't generated by the Hive Fleet on all invasions, since growing them needs a lot of energy and biomass, so they are used sparingly and in just the biggest conflicts, and sometimes they are also used to increase efficiency in an invasion, like when a plan is almost defeated, and biotitans help to finish the job quickly by breaking the last lines of defense so the Tyranids can consume all life and turn it into more biomass. So, here in this video, we will explore all the 10 types of these biotitans of the Nids. Let's get banging. So we begin here with the Dominatrix, which has a kinky name attached to it, but all the while being a ruthless monster with no seductive value at all. Seen officially only in the Codex Tyranids of the 4th and 5th edition, the Dominatrix biotitan is created by the Tyranids as a super rare command creature meant to control huge swarms during the biggest invasions, basically acting like a living brain tower for the army. It's absolutely massive, bigger than knights and rivaling or even surpassing scout titans in size. It is built like a walking fortress covered in claws, teeth, and lots of built-in weapons that can tear apart enemy forces from both close range, melee, and far away, ranged. What really makes it scary though is its power that is derived and delegated by the Hive Mind, in that it sends out a super strong psychic signal that keeps all the nearby Tyranids perfectly coordinated. Because of this, it is one of the most important creatures on the battlefield for the Nids, and if it gets destroyed, an entire Tyranid force can lose coordination and become totally wild. It's about as smart or even smarter than a Hive Tyrant, and even more in terms of control over the swarm, so it can plan attacks, react to threats, and guide the swarm with near-perfect strategy, which makes it both a giant and also a powerful battlefield commander. The second one here is the Hierophant. So up next is the most common, maybe the biggest, or at least the tallest of the biotitans. This is the Hierophant, and it is made to act as a giant frontline destroyer, basically a living siege engine that smashes through the strongest enemy defenses during big invasions. It is huge, around 15 meters tall, and weighing over 50 tons, so it's about the size of an Imperial Titan, and it moves like a towering insect-like monster with long legs and a body covered in armored plates, spikes, and writhing tendrils. However, the ones seen in Space Marine 2 video game suggests a creature which is over 30 meters or 100 feet tall, and therefore more than 400 tons going by the square cube law. It is incredibly powerful, armored massive biocannons that blast enemies from a distance, along with giant claws and sights and blades for close combat. While its thick chitin armor, toxic spores, and poisonous gas makes it very hard to approach, never mind kill. It even has a psychic ability that creates kind of a shield and helps to heal, so it can keep fighting even after taking heavy damage. In terms of appearance, it looks like a nightmarish mix of a spider and a dinosaur, with a hunched body, long limbs, and a belly protected by whipping tendrils that attack anything nearby. So yeah, the Hierophant is the most common biotitan, and possibly even maybe one of the strongest. Number 3, the Harridan. See, the Tyranids even have their own titan for the skies, unlike other races in the grimdark galaxy. This is the Harridan, and it is created by the Tyranids to dominate the skies during an invasion, acting like a giant airborne carrier and an attack beast all in one. It is the largest flying Tyranid ever seen, aside from the bioships, often reaching around 30 meters long with a wingspan of up to 40 meters wide, which makes it look like a massive alien dragon or a wyvern soaring through the battlefield and creating all chaos. Unlike other biotitans, ground ones, the Harridan's main job is to control the air, carrying and releasing swarms of smaller creatures like gargoyles, while also attacking enemies directly with powerful biocannons, huge claws, and massive jaws. Even though it is not as fast as a human aircraft, it is still incredibly dangerous because it can dive from above, strike hard, and then pull away, making it difficult to hit. And even if it's hit, it takes quite a lot to bring it down. Its appearance is especially terrifying, with long bat-like wings, a stretched skeletal body, and a head full of fangs, giving it a very alien but dragon-like look as well. Some are smaller and act more like oversized gargoyles, while the biggest ones are true biotitans, serving as the flying commanders of the swarm. Number 4. The Tyrannofex. This biotitan is a huge fortress-like creature made to act like a walking gun platform, built purely to blast enemies from a distance, while at the same time soaking up tons of damage, which thus has the ability to weaken the morale of the resistance, as seeing no matter how much you throw at it, its guns keep on blazing forth. It's massive and heavily armored, covered in thick layers of chitin and supported by 6 powerful legs that help it carry its heavy weight across the battlefield. Its main feature is a gigantic biocannon fused directly into its body, one of the biggest weapons any Tyranid can have, and it comes on different types depending on the class of biotitan as created by the Hive Fleet, as some spray burning acid that melts armor and flesh, others release swarms of flesh-eating beetles, and the most destructive version fires special organic projectiles that can tear apart even heavily armored vehicles from the inside. On top of that, the Tyrannofex can carry smaller Tyranid organisms inside its body and release them if enemies get too close, making it dangerous at both long range and short range. It is not really fast nor agile, and it can't really struggle in close combat, but it makes up for that by calling in other Tyranids using its pheromones when it is in danger, while it keeps firing relentlessly against the enemies. Number 5. The Dactylis. This biotitan is a huge, long-range attacker made by the Tyranids to bombard enemies from afar, kind of like a living artillery cannon that's supposed to swarm from behind the front lines. It is believed to be a more larger, more powerful version of a biovore, with long, multi-jointed arms, full of tight muscle that makes a loud cracking sound when it hurls or it attacks across the battlefield, which it does with great force and accuracy. Instead of normal weapons, it fires living ammo like spore mines or bile pods with parasitic creatures that explode or spread deadly toxins when they hit their target. Over time, it has shown how Tyranids can adapt, growing different spore-producing colonies on its head as well, so it can create different types of ammunition depending on the enemy it is fighting. In terms of appearance, it looks bulky and hunched, with oversized throwing limbs and a swollen head packed with bioweapons. The Dactylis has mainly been seen in only in older Warhammer material, especially in Chapter Approved 2001 and later in the Lost and the Ban. Number 6. The Vermis class biotitan. This is a rare and mysterious giant created by the Nids, possibly as a modified version of the Hierophant or the Dominatrix, designed to act as an extremely tough and powerful battlefield bioform. It is enormous, around the same level as other biotitans, built to soak up huge amounts of damage while continuing to push forward and destroy anything in its path. What really shows its power is how hard it is to kill. During the battle on Icar 4, it was estimated that it would take around 17,000 Titan-grade rounds or a dozen powerful missiles just to bring it down, which is an insane level of durability. In the end, it was only destroyed by a single shot from a Vortex missile fired by an Imperator Titan, one of the most powerful weapons in the setting, and this shows that the Vermis class is more about showcasing the Hive Fleet's ability to make an almost unstoppable lifeform. Now number 7. The Viragon. This is a massive worm-like biotitan created by the Nids to dominate underground warfare, basically acting like an enormous tunneling engine for the swarm. It is similar to a Trigon, but way bigger, and since a Trigon is already a massive creature at 7 meters long, this Viragon would likely be in the range of 20 to 30 meters in length or more. Thus this makes it an absolutely gigantic serpentine creature that can burrow through rock, soil and even fortified ground. Its main role is to carve huge tunnels beneath the battlefield so other Tyranids can suddenly appear behind enemy lines, completely bypassing defenses and causing utter chaos. Because of its size, it is not just a transport organism, it is also incredibly dangerous in combat, likely equipped with massive claws, fangs and on a much larger, more destructive scale than the Trigons. So overall, the Viragon is like a supersized dragon, turning the ground itself into a weapon and making nowhere on the battlefield truly safe. Next, number 8, the Viciator. This is a rare and most specialized variant of the Hierophant, created by the Nids to act as an even more brutal frontline destroyer during major invasions. It is about the same massive scale as a Hierophant, meaning it's a towering, multi-legged monster with a size and weight similar to an Imperial Titan. What makes the Viciator stand out is its weapon loadout and its mutations, as it can have huge crushing claws for tearing apart tanks, long scythe-like blades for slicing through groups of enemies, and cluster of spines or other organic weapons that let it attack at a range. Its appearance is even more aggressive and weapon-heavy than the standard Hierophant. Even the scientists of the Adeptus Mechanicus don't fully understand how such a creature exists, but they do know that it is a Hierophant variant. Thus, this makes the Viciator one of the most mysterious and terrifying biotitan in the swarm. Number 9, the Nautiloid. So this is a strange and massive Tyranid bioform, a biotitan that was created for some unknown reasons by the swarm. It has a huge spiral shell like a snail, which likely acts as heavy protection for something underneath it, while its body underneath is more flexible, with fused limbs forming a pseudopod that lets it move in a slow but steady way. It also uses lash whip-like appendages to strike and control enemies nearby, making it dangerous up close, even if it's not really fast. In terms of appearance, it looks very alien and somehow unusual compared to other Tyranids, almost like a mix between a giant mollusk, a snail, and a bioweapon. And then lastly we have number 10, the Eater Beasts. These are gigantic slow-moving Tyranid creatures made purely for one job, eating and processing huge amounts of biomass once the planet is already lost. See, we don't really have any images for this creature, this bioform, but we have created our own. The Tyranids create them for the final stage of an invasion, when all resistance is basically crushed and the swarm needs to consume everything quickly before going back to the void. These creatures are absolutely massive, far bigger than most ground units, and they can devour piles of corpses, plants, and organic matter almost non-stop. They appear in a novel called Valador by Guy Haley, where they show up and eat everything, and they show just how terrifying the end stage of a Tyranid invasion really is. And with this we end this video on the 10 types of biotitans of the Tyranids in 40k. Now, do hit the like button for support and also click that bell button for regular updates and new uploads. Also subscribe to be a part of Legion Notebook, and till the next time, take care, boys.